Hello, everyone. Welcome to Superhero to Kane podcast number 15. This week's topic um, is I don't know what it is. It's not. I was going to say it's not a positive topic, but it is what it is. So, and I want to talk about multiple sclerosis and depression. And the reason this even came up is because last week. Oh, before I get started, this podcast is not is brought to you by MS for MS, by the way, or is would not be possible if it wasn't for MS for MS. So anyway, last week's support group meeting, Middletown support group, our the woman running the support group asked me a question, and I used to run a group in Shrewsbury and she said, "Did you ever go through the suicide training?" I'm like, "Suicide training? It's the first time I'm ever hearing of it." And I asked, why? Like, why would you even talk about that? And she said that since she's been a support group leader, which I believe is in excess of 10 years, she's had 4 different people with multiple sclerosis that have committed suicide. And that number just shocked me. I was like blown away that was even possible. And it goes back to, one of the symptoms of multiple sclerosis is depression. And not the thing that always confused me was there's depression because of I'm living with primary progressive MS. MS has affected my life in a way where I'm unable to work anymore. I'm unable to perform tasks and go about my day in a way like I used to. It has drastically impacted my ability to cognitively understand, physically do stuff, and so there's that part of it. Which, if you look at what's the basic definition of depression, is a constant feeling of sadness and loss of interest, which stops you from your normal activities. Low self-esteem. Well, if you're not able to be yourself, and you're not able to carry out your normal activities because this disease has impacted you, then sure, you're going to have low self-esteem, and there's going to be a feeling of loss. But the other part of this that goes with multiple sclerosis is it's a neurological disease. So how much of depression is from not being able to do things, and how much of depression is from it neurologically impacting us? MS is a very different disease for everyone. Symptoms, they call it the snowflake disease because everyone's MS is different. I was so concerned about this, or so confused. I talked to my brother-in-law, who's to get this right, licensed clinical social worker. Basically, he's a therapist. And he talked to me about, there's a chemical imbalance with many people. And I know he works with people that are addicts that are recovering and are affected by depression because of that. That's one part of his business. I know or part of what he does, profession rather. But I'm talking about multiple sclerosis and the seriousness of depression. And one of the things that drives me nuts is I'm in a clinical trial right now for a new drug. And there's many tests, many MRIs, pills have to be taken, infusions have to be got. But one of the things, there's she's a person that I'm not sure if she's a social worker, but she's in charge of the study. And part of what she does is there's a questionnaire, which I call it the suicide questionnaire, and it's asking you about, do you feel depressed? Do you feel like taking your life? Have you planned out taking your life? Have you ever been stopped? Questions along this category. And I'm sorry, but I'm sitting there in a doctor's office with a person that I think she's an awesome person, but I really don't know what her background is as far as being a psychologist or being able to talk to somebody. If I'm feeling depressed, um, I'm really sorry, but I don't feel comfortable telling her. And even when my doctor or the nurses rattle off these questions, they ask it like they're checking a list, and to the point where it makes me want to not answer honestly at times, because yeah, I there's things I do which I'll get into in a little bit that I try to do to prevent myself from getting to that point. Um, I mean, years ago, I went to cognitive therapy, which was more about I learned for 2 years when I first was stopped working after I'd been diagnosed for a couple of years. Um, I learned about managing my time because for me, my issues are I have tremendous fatigue. I have major cognitive issues where just my ability to process information, think in a process way, read, go on the internet, um, affects me where I get, what I call bubblehead at times. So, oh my God, where was I going with this? So anyway, I there's what did I say? I'm talking to Sean because Sean is my assistant. Um, did I say that there's things I do? There's things I do to try to overcome this crap. All right, um, so anyway, I do talk to a psychologist every several weeks for an hour. There are things I do to meditate, and I'll get into it in a little bit, but things I do to try to make myself feel better. And I feel comfortable in the people and the processes that I'm doing this. And one of the things that I used to do was go to cognitive therapy. And the issue for me personally is don't get into that zone. Oh, here's where I was going. Oh my God, my fucking I'm such a fucking idiot sometimes. I feel so stupid. Um, so anyway, I want to avoid that zone where I get bubblehead, I call it, where cognitively I'm fatigued. I can't even comprehend what's going on. I can't contribute. I feel just overwhelmed. I feel like I'm in a fog, cognitive fog, they call it. So for me, the things that trigger that are if I use up all my energy, if I try to combine physical and mental. Um, so yeah, I have to be very careful about either not getting into conversations too long, or how much I contribute, or not. I can't go on the internet on a computer. It's weird. On the phone, I'm okay for a little while, but on the computer, it just like somebody unplugs me. Um, so I mean, I have lesions on my brain, lesions in my spine. So the cognitive affects me where I almost want to fall asleep and I can't function. And also affects me physically. If physically I push myself too far, it affects me cognitively. So yeah, I'm in a great situation here. So going back about depression. Yeah, I'm depressed. I mean, at the meeting, the freaking guy, one of the people that I that was there, mentioned how they're not depressed, and I'm like, well, I don't get it. Like, how are you not depressed? Like, I'm depressed. Like, I get depressed, and I do things to overcome it. Like, it's a matter of acknowledging the truth and working through the situation and trying to help. Like, there's got to be a bigger purpose that you do stuff. So One of the things that my brother-in-law, Richard Jaffe, the licensed clinical social worker slash therapist, talked to me about was he sent me a link. He said that there are what they call happy hormones. Okay, so one of them is dopamine, the reward chemical. The way that your body naturally gives you this happy hormone of dopamine is some examples are listening to music, trying something new, do something creative, check something off your list. In that list, listening to music is always very good for me. I you don't have to do anything, and it brings me back to a time where this music is great. Anyway, trying something new is kind of hairy for me. I don't try new stuff. It just if I have to think, I'm screwed. Do something creative for me. This podcast, the posts that I do. Sometimes I draw. I draw cartoons along with the posts, which I found that I can do. I really didn't know I had this ability. Um, Checking something off your list. When I feel like I've accomplished things, for me, there's no greater satisfaction. That is a big one for me. So, happy hormone dopamine, that's how I get it. The next one is serotonin, good for mood. So, exercise, bask in the sun. I could probably bask in the sun if it's not too hot out for a little while. Practice meditation. I do that every day. Eat a healthy meal. I make sure I eat my gluten-free organic breakfast, and I follow some things in the Walsh Protocol to a point. But yeah, I try to eat pretty healthy as far as that goes, and it's good for mood. Oxytocin is the love hormone. Hug someone you love. Spend time with friends. Show affection. Do something nice for someone. So, spending time with friends, I love doing that, but then to a point, I have to be careful what, because spending time with friends means I'm talking or I'm listening, and those things kind of pull from my cognitive crap, so I have to be careful. But listen, hugging someone, I'd love to do that. Show affection, do something nice for someone. I love to do nice things for people. I think I get more nice things done for me than I do for people, unfortunately. Should be the other way around. And the last happy hormone, endorphins, the pain reliever. Take a hot bath. I can't do that. Hot stuff and a bad neurological system don't go together. Create music or art. Now, the art, I consider drawing my cartoon stuff when I do my posts, creative. Try yoga, laughing. That I think laughter is one of the best medicines. And it says try yoga. I just started trying Reiki, which is amazing. It's my Kelly Bogda, my good friend, is helping me, and she is a Reiki expert, and she is helped me see if there's other things pulling at me. I mean, yeah, I have MS and I have all these symptoms, but I think that we all have something else that could be pulling at us that we don't realize, and so we're working on that together. It's very it's for me. It's kind of like meditating, but it's relaxing and trying and understanding. I love trying to understand shit. If I don't understand something, I like information. I think I get yelled at by my wife and by everybody for being the question guy. I ask a lot of questions. It's just who I am. I ask questions and I listen because I want to understand. So, anyway, the whole point of this is like whether we're affected by depression because of our lack of being able to do stuff because of the disease, or we're affected by depression because of the neurological part of the disease it's up to us to do stuff to combat that. And I say combat that, I mean, live with it. Um, make sure that you're going to get through. You can't sit there and do nothing. Um, and unfortunately, I've seen some people that um, have gotten diagnosed with this disease. They went into a wheelchair or a scooter, and they've done nothing. Um, that's not the answer. I believe, I personally, I exercise, I stretch every day, I go to physical therapy, I go to occupational therapy, I meditate every day, I speak to a therapist every 3 weeks or so. I just mentioned I just started Reiki. I try to understand about this disease as much as I can. Um, so, unfortunately, you have to accept, that you have this disease, and you have to learn to live with it. But you have to do things to help you live with it, or it can be overwhelming. And I guess that's where the people with severe depression and in their life have gone. And yeah, it's not a great topic, but like I said, it is what it is, and I think it's up to us to do something about it. So yeah, I think I'm good. I think that's where I'm going to end it. What do you think?
I agree.
All right, goodbye.